all suddenly going to come to their senses and say, hang on a minute, all right, yeah, perhaps peace is what we should be doing. So, you could be eating your words in 6 months' time when all of a sudden that area becomes great and people have settled down.
The world doesn't think like that, does it?
Well, no, because they're all trying to knock Mr. Trump, because he's just turned around and done something that, he's getting blamed for something that he got the guts to do that all, you're President Clinton and Obama and you're the ones that you hold in high esteem,
Yes, I do hold them in high esteem.
But they did it.
And I accept totally that they made the political statement in advance of both their elections even during the course of their presidencies that they would make Jerusalem the capital city of Israel.
You see, Trump's probably going to go around the other way because he's going to turn around. If they do start, having little bits of upsets with bombs and rockets and all that sort of thing, old Trump is probably going to go in there and say, right, lads, look, you can listen to me, because if you want to do that, he says, well, I'm going to nuke you, or do something proper, and so that'll be it. I mean, the blokes, I love Donald Trump, and I wish he was the King of England, I mean,
you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, that's what
you're just trying to be provocative.
No, I'm not. Don't you start using big words on a Saturday morning, you're confusing me. Because I thought that veracity was something that you went to the doctors about. I've got a veracity vein.
That's called a verruca.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Varicose. Anyway, sort of moving on. I do think, Mike, that your provocative stance with regard to Donald Trump is working because it's clearly affecting my good-natured feeling this morning towards you, because I can't believe that
You've never
actually
had good-natured feeling.
I have. I think you're an intelligent and smart human being.
No, you don't.
That deserves a lot more credit than I know. People mock you a lot.
No,
but I can understand.
Tell me who these people are.
I can understand how frustrating that might be.
But this Trump business, it's taking the emphasis off of North Korea for the time being, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you reckon we're just being played like that?
Well,
I suspect we are being played by some publicist in the White House who's going, right, well, but this bit of news out
Well, it'll be publicist today, he'll be sacked tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, how about the fact that Donald Trump has just laid out a whole list, a litany, possibly, list of things he's going to work through, and maybe he's just working through them.
Yeah. What countries he's going to invade. And
no matter what, that's it. He's laid it down. He's going to follow it. Unlike a lot of... And I'm not a Trump advocate at all. But...
Trump advocate?
I'm trying to get in some of these words,
That's like egg flip stuff, isn't it? That's advocate, isn't it? You put into cocktails.
Yeah. Because you're the main snowball, doesn't it?
Hang on, guys, I've lost my track here.
Well, yeah, that's
maybe
easy.
he's just laid down this list of promises, election, whatevers, and he's just slowly working his way through it.
It's a bit of shame that other politicians don't, isn't it?
Well, maybe it is, because if they lay all these things out and then don't do them, what does that say about it?
That's right.
And there's going to be opposition to everything, for good, bad or ugly. And, the Brexit thing is a case in point. Mr Farage this week has been saying that's not what people signed up for when they actually left. To do this and to pay that and so on. So,
debate, wasn't it?
It's all politics. It's all a load of rot, and most of us...
It's not a load of rot. It's politics is important.
We had the list of Adrian Messenger, now we've got the list of Donald Trump. Donald Duck, I tend to call him, because he looks like Donald Duck. And anyway,
there is a similarity. There's definite similarity.
I'll tell you what, you would like to be married to one of his wives, though, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I haven't got the money, have I? I mean,
I'm quite happy with my wife, thank you.
If you had the money...
I don't know, I think they're equally as dangerous. This is his third one he's on now, isn't it?
Well, good luck to him.
Yeah, well, I know.
I mean, you're on his second one.
Well, that's true. Yeah, my niece is on her fifth, I think.
Yeah? I'm still on my first. She's lucky.
God, yeah. Next
any more stories?
What about the Sun? Anything?
Well, the Sun, I turned pages and there's
nothing.
Pictures of, dog food fit for humans, pedigree yum yum, which is like, pampered dogs are now chewing through better food than their owners get, which is hardly news because people have been doing that for years. I think the other big story of the moment is what Boris is going to do in terms of getting that British citizen out of jail.
But is he going to? They're saying this morning it's doubtful.
Well, I've heard different stories. I think most people are wishing him well on the mission, because I think that having a British citizen held hostage, which is what I believe she is, for political expedience, is totally wrong. And I don't know. We have a go at these third world countries, and I think quite justifiably so, because their legal systems seem to be incredibly corrupt and politically motivated. So it wouldn't happen in this country, would it?
No, of course it wouldn't. Come on, live a life, sunshine.
What,
it's
you
happening
mean
all the time.
You mean we have do we have political prisoners?
Yeah.
I suppose we did in Northern Ireland, but I don't think we've got any.
Bobby Sands is one of them.
Well, yes, I suppose yes. In Northern Ireland, we certainly had that situation, but I don't think at the moment. I mean, I suppose some of the terrorist suspects would be regarded as political prisoners.
Well, whether I mean, they've turned around and said that they've foiled, what is it, 10 murder plots or ISIS type plots.
What about this latest one about
going to kill the Prime Minister?
Blow up the gates and a bit over the top, and then knife. Do they really think they were going to get that far?
Yeah.
Two guys.
Do you know? I think there is jihadists, but there's also some young people that have got some really serious bad
karma.
I think that they're living in a fantasy world where everybody hates them. Where it's
a bit like the Liberal Democrats, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, it's like I noticed these two guys.
They live in a fantasy world.
These two guys. I noticed the BBC in their news coverage avoided all mention of the fact that they were Islamic. They didn't mention it at all. It could have been anybody. Why are they so frightened to name name? Because the papers named the names. They didn't, and it was immediately obvious that they were Muslim when the names came up, wasn't it?
What about the MP though? That reckons that all the lads have gone out from this country to fight in the war and actually be killed, so that they can't do any damage when they come back.
Well, I quite agree.
So do I. I mean,
they're never going to change, are they? They're not going to be de-radicalised, I don't think. That's the whole point they want to come back for.
We've always lived in a world where people have different views. It's a matter of how extreme those views and what you're going to do to bring everything to fruition, your ideas.
You're going to
history is exactly the same, isn't it? From Attila the Hun to blooming Julius Caesar and Roman Empire to Adolf Hitler, the lot. It will always happen, unfortunately. But can I just change tack here a little bit?
No, but go on.
Right. Two things in the Times. One is texting spells end of the apostrophe.
Oh, no.
That's one. And also, parents leave the nitty-gritty to the pros. So we have a situation here, and this is a massive change over the last few decades. I suppose this is a little bit of PC, this is a bit of everything all mixed in. Couples have children, and then they leave the children to be brought up by other people, basically. Various nannies and so on. I guess this has been going on for a degree for a long time.
It goes on a lot in Hong Kong.
It goes against the idea of having your own children and looking after them and being with them, particularly when they're younger and they need your nurturing.
Well, the case is, I had an agent in Hong Kong when I worked out there, and she got two young daughters, and they've all got armours over there, nannies, Filipinos that they pay a pittance to. And this girl, when she had the opportunity to be with the children, she was out gallivanting about, And then she wondered why the kids always went to the armour and not to her, when they wanted anything. And
the idea is have kids is because you want children, and you want to be with them, and so on. That is nature. That's life, isn't it?
I think so. We had a message, by the way, just to interrupt. Woohoo, this is from Lynn. I'm now an official supporter. Only just got home and parcel waiting for me. Thank you so much for thinking of me. It's great. I'll get a photo organised. Thanks again for the Christmas card. That's from me. But there we are.
Oh, at least she got a Christmas card. We haven't.
Well, no, you're getting yours next week.
Oh, nearer
Christmas.
Yeah, I mean,
they're all ready.
Christmas will be over by the time we get them, So, I mean, this apostrophe and all the rest of it is because there's another thing that is really really, really riling me. And this is being done by totally highly educated people. They're starting sentences in reply to a question with so.
All the time. Yeah. All the time.
And it's annoying me. But
and the other thing is basically. The times people use the word basically. I mean, every other sentence basic, and then it's
indeed.
Like, and then it's like.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's okay. That's normal.
Is it?
Yeah, because it emphasises something that is factual.
Indeed.
Well, so does basically to a certain extent.
Well, it doesn't. It means it's basic.
Well,
indeed it is.
But they use it in the wrong context.
Well,
indeed they do.
Yes, but starting a sentence with so.
I know.
It's like, you when I learnt grammar to do my O levels, you could not start a sentence with and or but.
Yeah, but you can now. That's all gone out the window. And but you can start sentences.
Indeed, a needle pulling thread.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Any more headlines, gentlemen, or are we going to continue with my show?
Well, there is the funny, the usual. I've got one of the red top papers here, and. They've got the annual ski lodge photograph of some very wealthy young British students being playful in the Alps, and the overwhelming enthusiasm for the red top papers to catch posh people behaving silly and perhaps even just a little bit naughty is never ending. And why on earth do we actually buy into it? Why? Because we buy that, son. Millions of people buy the newspaper. Why are we doing that? Well, what is the motivation? Are we titillated by it? Do we find some sort of pleasure, some sort of voyeuristic, element to it?
It's the après ski, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, they managed to get a picture of this poor lad when he was some sort of page boy to the Queen, and then they got a picture of him with two young teenage girls being just a little bit fruity. I mean, it's not really, they've all got their clothes on. They're just being a bit
harassment.
It's a bit of wolf whistling, was it?
Harassment.
Well, I'd say the wolf whistling's coming from the female side.
You can probably get a bit of wolf whistling over there. That's allowed in Switzerland.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think a lot of it is also depends on who's doing the wolf whistling, and I think it comes with any sort of encounter like that. If you've got an 18-year-old lad wolf whistling an 18-year-old girl,
well, it's what we said before.
That's much more acceptable than a 90-year-old bloke whistling an 18-year-old girl, which is unacceptable. So it comes down to age, I think.
Of course it does.
And if you drift outside of your age group, you're more likely to be accused of something inappropriate.
Well, there's a technical term and a medical term for this, really, because you see that a 19-year-old, when he wolf whistles, he's got his own teeth, and a 90-year-old hasn't. He's got false teeth, and therefore the whistle sound is different, you see. It's a...
That's why I can't whistle.
It is. No. Well, you couldn't whistle anyway, could you?
Well, I used to be able to. I can't.
Did you?
Well, we're all whistling in the wind here because for
as much as I can do.
Whatever, I cannot see any value whatsoever in having a title as Posh and Sloshed needing to go into a newspaper, quite frankly. That is not news.
It's cheap
because it happens all the blooming time.
Of course it does.
And that is it. It's just... Yes, I agree with Alan here. There was a bit of titillation, and that is the end of it.
Yeah, there was a case that was brought up this week on one of the programmes on the Goggle Box about GPs' missed appointments. It's estimated to be costing £160 million a year to the NHS. That's £60 each patient that doesn't attend. I mean, why do they not just pick up the phone and cancel and leave the appointment open for somebody else who might want an urgent appointment? This has got to epidemic levels. And they're claiming now that it's mainly the 16 to 30 age group. They make appointments and they don't turn up and they can't be bothered. 1 in 5 is failing to turn up more than twice.
Well, I can believe that because in our local medical centre, you walk in there for your appointment, they plonk you down, and up comes on the big screen 324 missed appointments this month.
Really?
It actually tells you, and which I think is quite cool.
So
the fact it tells you, and it is a disgrace.
I think it's
how they work out it costs £60, I don't know, because
at the
end of the day, people do just walk in and try and get appointments. So mostly those vacancies that have been created by a missed appointment will get filled, and people invariably are there before their allotted time, and therefore they just get seen a little bit earlier.
That'd be nice.
Don't you think? I mean, I must say I've never missed a doctor's appointment, but I had missed a dental appointment once because for some reason or another I got it into my head that it was
you get fined.
It was Wednesday, and of course when I then looked on it, but it